qualified to be an electrical inspection agency in Cecil County. There is the first part of the process is a review of the application, as well as the interview by the Board of Electrical Examiners. After the Board of Electrical Examiners reviews, then it is presented to the council for their consideration to make a recommendation. As far as numbers, there are 3. Well, this would be potentially the 3rd one. There are 6, I believe, in Newcastle County. This agency that is requesting the appointment is currently licensed in Delaware. They are also Caroline County, Dorchester County, Worcester County, Wycomico County, Somerset County, and I believe, if I didn't mention Caroline County. So they have a good reputation, and again, they meet all the criteria to be appointed.
So, not that many agencies in Cecil County?
There are 3. If this is,
No. I mean,
if this one is appointed, it'll be the 3rd one. There is actually 1.
Can you speak into the microphone? Thank you.
I gotta turn it on, I believe, because I don't think it's on, but.
Actually, Pat, that one's lit right there.
Okay.
Actually, my question to you is there enough oversight to make sure that they're meeting the criteria, that inspections are complete, that your agency has oversight?
Our agency has very little oversight, other than the fact that the Board of Electrical Examiners is the board that regulates all inspection agencies.
So if there's a problem, we're going to hear about it.
If there's a problem, then I would say that the consumer would register a complaint and the board would hear the complaint.
Or there'd be okay. That's the only way of knowing.
If the consumer does it, it's just like buying a car. If you buy a car and something happens to the car, then you're going to complain.
Here's the question: is there a checks and balance that you could recommend?
I don't have any recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Conway?
Yes, sir.
Could you explain exactly what the electrical inspector does and how this whole process takes place?
Well, the electrical inspector basically does 2 inspections for the most part, or 3 inspections. There's service, there's rough inspection, there's a final inspection. Basically, right now we have 2 inspection agencies. One of them is Bay Area Inspection Agency. The other agency is American Inspection Agency out of Newark. Primarily, the inspection agency who does the most inspections in Cecil County is Bay Area.
In most cases, what these people do is they hire an electrical contractor to install the electrical work. And then this is an independent contractor that comes and inspects the installer's work. Is that correct?
Correct.
Or basically, you're absolutely right. These people have no vested interest other than to ensure the quality of the electrical work. Is that correct?
That's correct. And they carry a significant amount of
insurance to do this.
Yes.
How do I highlight this? What are some problems that have arisen from this breach?
Since the appointment was made last August, there have been no complaints.
No, not here.
Question.
I didn't mean here. In other areas.
I'm not familiar with other areas. I work for Cecil County. I'm responsible for Cecil County.
Right. Okay.
This is an independent contractor that inspects the work that's been performed.
That's correct.
And if they see a fault with it, they will not sign off on the electrical inspection. It has to be repaired.
That's correct. And all the violations that have been submitted to us have been corrected.
Are there any other questions from any other council member? All right. We'll consider resolution number 64-2013, the appointment of electrical inspection agency introduced. The next resolution is 65-2013. This is an appointment to the redistricting commission that was appointed by the council to redistrict the council districts. Mr. Massey, would you read this into the record, please?
Resolution number 65-2013, a resolution to appoint Wyatt Wallace to replace James Kraus as a member of the Redistricting Commission for 2013, introduced by Council President Robert Hodge, introduced in order posted June 18, 2013, scheduled for consideration on July 2nd, 2013.
As the council members recall, the charter spells out a redistricting commission made up of members from appointments from the Democratic Central Committee, the Republican Central Committee, and one member from the council. One of the Democratic Central Committee members had resigned, so the Democratic Central Committee is appointing a new member, which is Wyatt Wallace. So this is a appointment that we don't have a lot of discretion on unless someone has some serious heartburn with it. Are there any comments or questions regarding this resolution? Hearing none, we'll consider the resolution introduced and will be considered at our next legislative session on July 2nd. The next resolution, number 66-2013, postponement of major facility fees. Would Mr. Massey please read this into the record?
Resolution number 66-2013, a resolution to defer the rate increase of the major facility hookup fee for a period of 90 days from the July 3rd, 2013 to October 3rd, 2013, introduced by the Council President, introduced in order posted June 18, 2013, and scheduled for consideration on July 2nd, 2013.
I'd like to make a correction. This was not introduced by the council president. This was introduced by council member Joyce Bowlesby. So, Ms. Bowlesby, would you explain to the council the purpose of this resolution, please?
The purpose is to postpone the rate increase for the wastewater major facilities fees for a period of 90 days, so that we can look at it, look at the rate schedules again, and make a decision.
Are there any questions from the other council members regarding this resolution?
Well, I'm in opposition to this introduction. It's hypocritical, after so much evidence has been brought to light about Seneca Point and it being totally ignored. This is, in my opinion, a political payback to the developers that have stepped forward and asked for this 90-day reprieve. They say it's 90 days to review, but it's 90 days that it will not be enforced. I had, interestingly, I had a discussion with Dan Whitehurst in which he agreed Seneca Point BMR process wasn't needed, and he had agreed to sit down and bend the ear of Ms. Moore and Director Flanagan, saying he was in opposition and was going to rally the troops of the developers. The day of the meeting, he whips out a rate schedule and says, oh, I already spoke with Councilman Hodge. He said if this meeting is for Seneca Point, we will not, this discussion is over. So that's why I'm looking at the rate study and picking out projects that aren't within the 5-year time frame. And we can lower the impact fees or the hookup fees by taking out those projects. And I believe at that time I heard him say the rates should have been increased. So interestingly, he's a developer and the hookup fees are supposed to go down. So this Seneca Point, if we take out the $30 million project and we have a rate study I could actually believe in, I think we would see a lot of the rates go down, both the rates and the hookup fees.
I did talk to Mr. Whitehurst, who has complained all along that he feels that this major facility fee will have a negative impact on all construction in Cecil County, economic development impact. And the fact is that I believe that he changed his mind about the type of wastewater treatment after he talked to his engineer. And I heard his engineer speak to the group that had a meeting about this, that he felt that the nitrogen removal filtration system was a Band-Aid. That's his words. That it was short-sighted to continue down that path of the nitrogen filter, denitrification filter.
What Morris Richards said?
That's correct.
Okay, I'll have to follow up.
The engineer felt that the county had actually chosen the correct path on how to meet the enhanced nitrogen removal or nutrient removal system. And I never had a conversation with the engineer. He reached that on his own independent basis based on his experience and training and background. So I don't think Mr. Whitehurst was relying on me in my judgment on this issue. I think he relied on his engineers. But in any event, the fact is that if the county has made a mistake, this is an opportunity to revisit it and reconfirm, or reconfirm that we did go down the right path. It's surprising to me that you're complaining that we made a mistake, but you're not allowing us to reconsider the mistake. So I'm not sure how you can have both sides of the coin at the same time. But in any event, I'm willing to support an initiative to revisit this matter, give it 90 days, to see if there's something at all, anything at all, that is out there that we can find a way to reduce this fee, because I do believe it will have an impact on economic development going forward if we're not cautious. So, does anyone else have any questions or comments?
I just wanted to say that I spoke with him, the next, it was 2 days later, and I asked him why did he, I basically said, I realized, he must have spoken to you in advance because he had his prepared rate schedule, and he did say he spoke with you. And that was why he did that, because you had said if it's to go back and re-decide on Seneca Point, the meeting's over. So it's interesting he said that after I left the meeting.
I did not call the meeting. It was not my meeting. It was not my agenda. And I couldn't control the meeting, so I'm not sure where you're coming from. All right, moving on. Is there any other questions?
If I may, I'd like to suggest that before vote on this at the next legislative session, I respectfully suggest that we should look at the fiscal impact of the resolution in order to determine if there's a decrease in revenue, and whether there would need to be a corresponding budget amendment to go along with it. There may be other issues, but I just wanted to kind of put that out there, because I think that there would have to be some interplay between the two branches of government to bridge that issue. And I didn't want to go full steam ahead without the opportunity to raise the issue and to give this council the opportunity to perhaps ask for a fiscal and/or consider this next workshop.
I would ask the council manager to schedule a meeting with the county executive and the Department of Public Works as soon as possible to rehash, in my words, this issue again, to make sure that there's absolutely no way that we can defer or reduce the fee for the major facility. So if we can do that actually before July 2nd, that would be helpful. Possibly, in worst case scenario, next week. Again, this was a very complex issue. The council spent hours and hours reviewing this. I'm not opposed to doing it again just to reconfirm or try to find a way. And we will seriously consider the fiscal impact before July 2nd.
Mr. Allison, my question was that we based these rates on the rate study, and the integrity of the rate study was brought into question, and projects that we could remove. So to me, it's a shell game if we now come up with a fiscal note to justify this.
Okay, is there any other questions regarding resolution number 66-20-13 to postpone the medical facility fee increase? Hearing none, we'll consider that resolution introduced, and we're going to move on to consideration, which means we're going to make decisions on the following resolutions. Starting with resolution number 49-2013, this is a budget amendment that was introduced on June 4th. Would Council Manager please read this into the record again?
Resolution number 49-2013, a resolution approving an amendment to the annual budget and appropriation ordinance for Cecil County, Maryland for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2013, to provide the general fund with additional expenditure appropriation authority to receive a carryover of $1,591 in federal grant funds from the FY 2010 State Homeland Security Program grant, Citizen Corps program in the Department of Emergency Services. Introduced by the Council President on behalf of the County Executive, introduced in order posted June 4th, 2013, and scheduled for consideration on June 18, 2013.
Do any of the council members have any questions regarding this resolution? Hearing none, may I have a motion, please?
I move to adopt ordinance fiscal year 2013, this will be 49-2013 Citizens Corps Program. Oops, is that the wrong one?
Nope.
That's it.
Right. That's it.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's been a motion and a second to approve resolution number 49-2013. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to call a roll call vote.
Dr. McCarthy,
Aye.
Ms. Bowlesby,
Aye.
Mr. Dunn,
Aye.
Ms. Brunel,
Aye.
President Hodge.
Aye. The motion carries unanimously, therefore resolution number 49-2013 passes. Next resolution for consideration is resolution number 50-2013. This is also a budget amendment regarding the marketing grant for the Economic Development Department. Would Mr. Massey please read it into the record again?
Resolution number 50-2013, a resolution approving an amendment to the annual budget and appropriation ordinance for Cecil County, Maryland for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2013, to provide the general fund with additional expenditure appropriation authority to receive an increase in state grant funds of $29,006 for the FY 2013 marketing grant in the Department of Economic Development. Introduced by the Council President on behalf of the County Executive, introduced in order posted June 4th, 2013, scheduled for consideration June 18, 2013.
You've heard the resolution. Is there any questions?
Is the fiscal impact, is that an official document that stays with the resolution?
No.
Yes?
Yes.
I would change.
It's part of what we've discussed, ma'am, if I may.
Go ahead. Mr.
Because
Wallace.
what you will see is that this is written as 2 or 3 lines, and then there's a solid line across the page. The intention is that the top of the part essentially is the watered down version that specifically says what the issue is. What we have added below on all the fiscal notes is if there's further detail that we believe is required, we have added that. And the suggestion that we have made is that at the end of any ordinance is that this be included as a non-legislative item that's purely a code comment.
Okay, what I'd like to point out is the amount is $49,006. We need to change that to 29.
Sorry if there's
Under the further
typo.
detail.
Yes.
Are there any other questions, additions, or corrections? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve.
I move for approval of resolution number 50-2013, which is a marketing grant in the Department of Economic Development budget amendment.
Is there a second? There's been a motion and a second to approve resolution number 50-2013, the budget amendment for taking consideration of marketing grant for the Economic Development Department. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, would Mr. Massey please call the roll call?
Dr. McCarthy,
Aye.
Ms. Folsby.
Aye.
Mr. Dunn. Ms. Brumell.
Aye.
President Hodge.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously, the resolution is approved. The second resolution is also a budget amendment, taking into consideration a grant through the Cecil County Drug Task Force. So this, please read into the record, please.
Resolution number 51-2013, a resolution approving an amendment to the annual budget and appropriation ordinance for Cecil County, Maryland for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2013, to provide the general fund with additional expenditure appropriation authority to receive $1,200 of local grant funds for the FY 2013 Cecil County Drug Task Force grant of the Sheriff's Office, introduced by the Council President on behalf of the County Executive, introduced and order posted on June 4th, 2013, scheduled for consideration on June 18th, 2013.
Do any of the council members have any questions?
Again, in further detail, on the fiscal note, it states that the amount is $52.94. I think it needs to be $1,200. I hope.
The unspent funds are actually $52.94. Those are carryover funds, essentially unspent funds dating back to June 30th of 2011.
So should the ordinance say $1,200 or should it say $52.94?
The budget amendment should say $52.94.
Okay.
This is the unspent balance that we're transferring from one year to the next, is that correct?
Yes.
The budget amendment is for $52 and change. Is there any other questions?
I just want clarification. In the actual synopsis of the bill, are we writing $1,200 or are we writing $52.94? I hate to take time on this, but let's get it right. I'm sorry.
My suggestion is that we defer this for consideration on July 2.
My guess is that the original grant was for $1,200, of which most of it was spent except for a balance. But it may read
Because we've introduced it in this fiscal year, the fact that it passes on July 2 will still allow us to construe it as part of FY 13 for grant.
So you want to resubmit it?
Well, we want to make sure we have the correct facts before council completes its action.
Greg, do you need the paperwork?
No, I provided it.
I know you did, but it looked like you were looking for it. I didn't know if you had it.
No,
Okay, thank you.
Could I have a resolution to postpone?
I move
Can we table this until next legislative
I
session?
move we table resolution 51 until the next possible meeting.
No, let's put a date, which would be July 2nd.
July 2.
July 2nd meeting.
There's been a motion to table this resolution 51-2013 till July 2nd.
I'll
Is
second
there a
it.
second? There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Massey, would you call a roll call vote on the motion to table?
Dr. McCarthy.
Aye.
Ms. Folsby.
Aye.
Mr. Dunn. Ms. Brumell.
Aye.
President Hodge.
Aye. The motion to table the resolution passes unanimously. It'll be reconsidered on July 2nd. The next resolution is number 52-2013. This is the second amendment to a budget amendment to the neighborhood youth panel. Mr. Massey, would you please read this into the record?
Resolution number 52-2013, A resolution approving an amendment to the annual budget and appropriation ordinance for Cecil County, Maryland for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2013, to provide the general fund with additional $3,664 expenditure appropriation authority to receive an increase in state grant funds for the FY 2013 Neighborhood Youth Panel Grant. Introduced by the County Council President on behalf of the County Executive, introduced and order posted June 4th, 2013, scheduled for consideration on June 18, 2013.
Are there any questions from the council members regarding this budget amendment? Hearing none, can I have a resolution?
I move to approve resolution 52
Dash.
2013.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to pass resolution number 52-2013, the second amendment to the budget amendment to the youth panel grant.
Okay, so we're in discussion.
Yes.
Once again, there's two different amounts, 3394 and 3664.
Mr. White or Mr. Robinson, do you have any thoughts?
I'm sorry, the ordinance says 3,664. Page 1 and page 2.
The budget amendment as written is correct, the fiscal amendment is incorrect. So you should move forward.
The fiscal impact note where it says because it's a grant with the revenues and expenses that net, that is correct. In the detail, the amount mentioned is incorrect.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Massey, would you please call the roll call?
Dr. McCarthy,
Aye.
Ms. Bowlesby,
Aye.
Mr. Dunn,
Aye.
Ms. Brumell,
Aye.
President Hodge.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Resolution number 52-2013 is hereby adopted. Item number 17 on our agenda is resolution number 53-2013. This is an appointment to the Board of Appeals. Mr. Massey, would you please read this into the record?
Resolution number 53-2013, a resolution to confirm the appointment by the County Executive of Eric Marshall to the Board of Appeals. Introduced by the Council President on behalf of the County Executive, introduced and order posted June 4th, 2013, and scheduled for consideration June 18th, 2013.
Do any of the council members have any questions? Hearing none, can I have the resolution to approve?
I move for approval of resolution number 53-2013, appointing Eric Marshall to the Board of Appeals.
Seconded.
There's been a motion and a second to appoint Eric Marshall to the Board of Appeals. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, will Mr. Massey please call the roll call?
Dr. McCarthy,
Aye.
Ms. Bowlesby,
Aye.
Mr. Dunn, Ms. Brumell,
Aye.
President Hodge.
Aye. The motion passes unanimously, therefore the resolution is adopted. The next item is number 18. This is a resolution number 54-2013, appointment to Economic Development Commission. Mr. Massey, would you please read this into the record?
Resolution number 54-2013, a resolution to confirm the appointment by the County Executive of Robert Hallsgrove to the Economic Development Commission, introduced by the Council President on behalf of the County Executive, introduced an order posted on June 4th, 2013, scheduled for consideration June 18th, 2013.
Are there any questions regarding this appointment to the Economic Development Commission?
I move to approve resolution 54-2013.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's been a motion and a second for appointment to the Economic Development Commission. Known as resolution number 54-2013. Is there any discussion? Mr. Massey, call the roll call, please.
Dr. McCarthy.
Aye.
Ms. Bowlesby.
Aye.
Mr. Dunn. Ms. Brumell.
Aye.
President Hodge.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. The resolution is adopted. Number 19 is resolution number 55-2013. This is also appointments to the Susquehanna Workforce Investment Board. Mr. Massey, would you please read this into the record?
Resolution number 55-2013, a resolution to confirm the appointment by the county executive of Daniel Sneckenberger to serve a 3-year term to expire June 30, 2016, and the reappointment by the county executive of Daniel Demarinis, Renee Quietmeyer, and Lisa Webb to serve a 2-year term to expire June 30, 2015, and Dr. Dieta Devine, Mark Kamholtz, and Terrence Lovell to serve a 3-year term to expire June 30, 2016, to the Susquehanna Workforce Investment Board. Introduced by the Council President on behalf of the County Executive, introduced in order posted June 4th, 2013, scheduled for consideration on June 18, 2013.
Are there any questions from the council members on this resolution?
I move to approve resolution 55-2013.
I'll
Is there a
second it.
There's been a motion and a second to approve resolution number 55-2013, appointments to the Susquehanna Workforce Investment Board. Any discussion?
Yes, I'm gonna be voting in opposition. I do not support the appointment of Dan Schneckenberger at any cost. He has shown actions that were dishonorable during the election, and there's been a number of things that he, I would say, would not be a good representative for Cecil County.
Okay, I have to say that I will be voting for this because Mr. Schneckenberger has a history of serving on this board in the past. He's been a great participant and a contributor, and it was requested to be put back on by the members of that investment board for his previous contributions, and I believe that he will continue to do a good job. So,
Can I ask, where does Mr. Schneckenberger live?
I think he lives up near Fairhill.
No, he lives in Pennsylvania.
He lives with Barry Junior.
I doubt it. I know, I've been to his house.
Yeah.
I've been to his house, I've been near his pool.
Okay, well,
He-
I've gotten information that he had, but I don't know for sure. Okay.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to approve the appointments to the Susquehanna Workforce Investment Board. Mr. Massey, please call the roll call.
Dr. McCarthy.
Aye.
Ms. Bowlesby.
Aye.
Mr. Dunn.
No.
Ms. Brumell.
No.
President Hodge.
Aye. The motion passes 3-2. The resolution is adopted. The next resolution is the nomination of a historic designation for the Town Point School. Mr. Massey, would you please introduce this read the resolution, please, with the second time.
Resolution number 56-2013, a resolution to establish and designate the property located at 19 Port Herman Road, Chesapeake City, Maryland, District 2, Tax Map 47, Parcel 7, known as the Town Point School Number 4, as a historic district. Introduced by the Council President on behalf of the County Executive, introduced in order posted June 4th, 2013, and scheduled for consideration on June 18, 2013.
Mr. Centrum, is this a historic district or historic designation?
See, excuse me, historic designation of the structure.
Do we need to change the language on the synopsis in the bill to say designation versus district?
No, it's specific to the town public school number 4, so it's fine the way it's written.
Okay.
It won't cause any issues.
Thank you. Members of the council, do you have any questions regarding this resolution?
I move to approve resolution 65, 2013.
That's number 56.
56, excuse me.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve 56-2013, the historic designation of the Town Point School. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, Mr. Massey, would you please call the roll call?
Dr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Ms. Bowlesby?
Aye.
Mr. Dunn? Ms. Brunel?
Aye.
President Hyde?
Aye. The motion passes unanimously. The resolution is hereby adopted. Number 21 on our agenda is the resolution number 57, 2013, which is a litigation settlement regarding the York Building Products, Inc. versus Cecil County. Mr. Massey, would you read the bill, please?
Resolution number 57-2013, a resolution to settle litigation in York Building Products Company, Inc. versus Cecil County, Maryland by restoring the zoning designation on York Building Products Company, Inc.'s parcel 122 on tax map 35, election district 5 to M2, heavy industrial, and to revise the county zoning maps to reflect such zoning restoration. Introduced by the council president on behalf of the county executive, introduced in order posted June 4th, 2013, scheduled for consideration on June 18, 2013.
Council members, do you have any questions regarding this resolution?
Mr. Allison, could you tell me at what point would a council member have to recuse themselves if they received campaign contributions from York Building Products?
Thank you, Councilperson Brunel. As a threshold matter, I think that the question is posed is somewhat vague. Are we referring to campaign contributions or other contributions? Second of all, I'd be reluctant to give that advice off the seat tonight without having an opportunity to prepare a response. And furthermore, I think that is a question that's probably best posed for the Ethics Commission. If there is an ethics issue related to conflict of interest, I think that they are the appropriate body for that to pass through.
Mr. Allison, don't you advise the Ethics Commission?
I advise them upon their request, yes.
And do you think that this might be an important enough question that we would delay this until we did get an answer?
I think that if a member wants an advisory opinion from the Ethics Commission, it's up to the member who may want the advisory opinion to determine whether it's important enough to request it.
Okay, well, I think it's important enough to request it, and I would make a motion, well, I guess it's did you already make a motion, or?
No.
Okay, well then I would make a motion that we delay this vote until we get an advisory opinion from the Ethics Commission on whether there is a conflict of interest or the potential or the perception of conflict of interest in voting on a matter in which one of the council members has received donations from York Building Products. And I say this because it's important.
You made a motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to delay the consideration of this resolution, the settlement agreement with York Building Products versus Cecil County until an ethics advisory opinion is requested and received regarding campaign contributions from council members. Is there any discussion?
Okay, and I feel this is an important, question we need to ask to do our homework, to avoid litigation. And I think there might be some issues as to true amounts of how much was donated by York Building Products, because I believe they own the, Apple billboards that were used during the campaign and donated to the, certain candidates in question.
Is there any further discussion by the council members?
Tell me what the terms of the discussion can be.
No, it's not a discussion, it's a request to the Ethics Commission on a decision on whether or not the council member needs to step down or recuse themselves from making a decision based on a perception of campaign contributions.
Well, I feel that we should move forward with this. I have some things I'd like to say, but they pertain to the legislation itself and not to your ethics violations.
I have to say that I recall the same questions being asked days, weeks, months ago of Mr. Allison. And I agree with his opinion that at the time he granted it, that it was not for him to make that decision. It was the decision to be made by the ethics board, and that he advised the council member that asked the question that she should have an advisory opinion requested then. And for some reason she failed to do that. I don't see the need, and I'm willing to move on. And if it was important, I believe that Ms. Brumel should have requested this ethics opinion days, weeks, or months ago.
Actually, I thought, Mr. Hodge, that you would do this out of, avoiding a lawsuit. I would think that you would have stepped up to the plate, and you knew this was an issue, we had raised it, and I felt that you would have done, it would have been your responsibility to have done so. Because you didn't, I am asking for it now.
I have given this matter serious consideration over many days and weeks since you brought it up originally. I see no conflict whatsoever, and I am prepared to vote tonight.
Can I ask why you didn't seek the opinion?
I didn't think that it was
Okay.
worthy. And besides that, I have to say that I do not recall anyone that has provided campaign funding to me. I never use any consideration on who has ever provided funding to me for my campaign. It never, ever is a factor in my decisions. And I file my reports when required. I put them away in a file and I move on. And at the end of the day, I apologize to those people that may have provided campaign funding to my candidacy in the past, because I'm sorry that you will not get consideration when I make choices and decisions. But I'm not apologetic for those that feel that I have received campaign contributions, because if I got $1 from every citizen of Cecil County, that would make me recuse myself for every decision that I make. So at the end of the day, the citizens voted me into office, and I am not going to recuse myself because I was supported by some other than others. So I don't think that there's a conflict. I will make a good, sound decision based on my policies, positions, and platforms as I was elected. And therefore, I am prepared to move on tonight regarding this matter.
Well, Mr. Hodge, I have to say that sounds really good, but for the sake of transparency, are you going to allow me to post on my website your disclosure statement? For the sake of transparency.
No, but you're certainly welcome to post on your website the matter of public record that is all the campaign money that I received from all sources that I filed with the campaign, or, excuse me, with the election board. That's a matter of public record, and you're welcome to.
Yeah, there is a matter
You're
of
welcome,
public.
you're a matter, you're welcome to post my campaign contributions that anyone can go on the internet and research. So we have a motion and a second to postpone the consideration of resolution number 57-2013 regarding a settlement of litigation between York Building Products and Cecil County until an ethics determination is made on whether campaign contributions by any of the commission, council members create a conflict of interest. Mr. Massey, would you please call the roll call on this?
Dr. McCarthy,
No.
Ms. Bowlesby,
No.
Mr. Dunn, Ms. Brumell,
Aye.
President Hodge.
No. Is there any other questions or discussion, or may I have a motion regarding resolution number 57-2013?
I move we return to resolution 57-2013. May I take the floor, please?
No. No, what did you say?
You said you wanted a motion to return to.
Did you move to approve resolution number 57-2013?
I thought we're opening it for discussion now.
No, I need a motion, and I did not hear you.
I move to approve resolution 57-2013.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve resolution number 57-2013 regarding litigation settlement with York Building Products, Inc. and Cecil County versus Cecil County. Now, we can have discussion. So, Mr. McCarthy, you have.
Yes. What I state for insight and clarity concerning this resolution. I'm going to give you a brief timeline, and I'll fill in some facts in between. On September 2007, the commissioners appointed a 41-citizen oversight committee to prepare and draft a new comprehensive plan. October 2009, this is 2 years later, Cecil County Oversight Committee prepares the plan and submits it to the Planning Commission. 2010, roughly 6 months later, the Planning Commission recommends approval of the draft comprehensive plan. Now, let me just kind of fill you into the magnitude of this. Involved in these procedures and draftings are 5 county commissioners. There's 6 members of the Cecil County Planning Commission. There's 6 people of the Office of Planning and Zoning. There's a multitude of county agencies which participated in this all-powerful document, which included the Senior Services, the Public Library, Sheriff's Department, Emergency Services, Department of Public Works, Economic Development, Health Department, Housing and Community Development, Recreation Department, plus the Budget Director. In addition to those, this plan was presented to and endorsed by Elkton, Northeast, Perryville, Rising Sun, Cecilton, to name a few. Lastly, but not least, the state of Maryland had active participation in the preparation of this document, including the agencies of Planning for Department of Maryland, Department of Transportation, Department of the Environment, Department of Natural Resources, the University of Maryland, the Center for Environmental Science, Will Mapco, which is in Wilmington in Delaware, Cecil College, and the National Center for Smart Growth Research. Now, that was all done in order to prepare this document for county commissioners. The most important thing I might say is that county commissioners on April 19, 2011, after York Building Products had already petitioned for a change in zoning, decided on one evening to not only deny the zoning change, which they didn't even hear, they basically downzoned it to NAR. That's what they did. 11 days prior to the introduction and completion of the final public comprehensive plan. That's transparency.
Okay, Ms. Brunel.
Yeah, well, I was on that comprehensive plan. And, Mr. Sundstrom, was the comprehensive rezoning a part of, the whole comprehensive plan process?
What was 66B, Article 66B of the annotated code, which is now the land use article of the annotated code, delegates at the time to non-charter counties the power to engage in planning and zoning activities. It's a non-mandatory delegation. It says that, however, if the county chooses to do so, certain steps must be taken in order to exercise those powers that are delegated. One of those is to develop a comprehensive plan, which the county has done several times over the last 51 years. As part of the implementation of that comprehensive plan, the next step in that process is the comprehensive rezoning process, whereby implementation documents are created to carry out what the comprehensive plan is recommending in its goals and objectives. So that was done through the drafting and adoption of the county zoning ordinance, county subdivision regulations, and county zoning maps. That was a process that culminated in April of 2011. Comprehensive plan drafting process culminated in April of 2010.
So the rezoning was an opportunity. I was hoping you were going to say this, but the rezoning process was an opportunity for the public to come in to either request additional rezonings or to correct or to say our property was rezoned to a certain designation and we believe it should be this. It was a part of the rezoning process.
Yes, as part of that process, the maps were made available for public review in the libraries in this building and on the county's website. Individuals were afforded an opportunity to come forward and say that they did not agree with whatever was being proposed for their property and that they could request something other than what was being proposed as part of that process.
Okay, and I remember, Mr. Sundstrom, that during this process, I had asked, after hearing their testimony, would we have the option of proposing a designation such as NAR? And you said yes, that once they spotlighted their property, that we could take the criteria to a determination of what is the correct zoning for that area for that period of time.
One of the things that the Board of County Commissioners was to take, or any Board of County Commissioners, but in this case, the former board, was to take into consideration is consistency with what the comprehensive plan is recommending, and there is a strong presumption of correctness in whatever decision was made by the board that the courts are to look at in any review. Now, of course, in the case of a comprehensive rezoning, the window is narrow in judicial review because you're acting, well, the former Board of County Commissioners was acting in their plenary legislative authority, and so a normal appeal process is not the avenue to be pursued.
I remember you saying something also that it's assumed that the slate is quite clean. Isn't that one of the factors that you keep in mind?
Well, again, you're creating new implementation documents and maps for a new comprehensive plan. You're not implementing the former comprehensive plan, you're looking at a new plan and what that plan is recommending, trying to be consistent with the goals and objectives of that plan.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Bowlesby, do you have any questions, comments?
Yeah, I have some comments. At the time that this happened, I was sitting out in the audience and I spoke out strongly against the rezoning to NAR. Simply because I thought it was the policy of the commissioners at that time, and I may be wrong, but I thought that they were to allow, if they were rezoning, that the property owner would have the right to present their arguments as to why it should not be rezoned. And I don't believe that the stewards were given that opportunity. I think that at the time I said it was unconscionable. Why would anybody move to this county, in my estimation, if they think their property can be rezoned right out from under them? It just doesn't make good sense to me. The comprehensive plan, didn't sit on this one because I wasn't appointed to that particular commission, but I sat on the one previously, and we didn't do massive rezonings ever. in my estimation. As a matter of fact, we missed some rezonings along the way, where we made mistakes, where something should have been business, and we had it as residential, but very, very, very few things were changed. I have been against the NAR zoning from the very beginning, and I will continue to be against it.
When you're against NAR, you're not against NAR, you're against NAR zoning on that particular
I'm
parcel.
talking about this particular property, correct?
Wasn't there a
Wait,
rezoning?
Councilman Dunn, do you have any discussion? Last comment, Ms.
Okay. As I recall, Mr. Sandstrom, wasn't there a rezoning where the property owners would come in from Dr. Jack Road on the other side, and they had a rezoning on their property, and it was a downzoning from what they had previously had? Do you remember that? And it went to well, it wasn't NAR, it was the new designation, comparable to NAR. And I believe Tome Highway was the cutoff point.
What you're referring to is a change in, from the 1990 comprehensive plan to the 2010 comprehensive plan on what was part of the county's designated growth area
Yes.
versus what was part of the rural conservation district.
I just
In
wanted to.
that area,
Mhm.
the demarcation of that division line between the two different land use districts in the comprehensive plan had changed, so individuals that in the 1990 comprehensive plan that were in the growth area, in that particular instance, were no longer in the growth area, so their base zoning district on the zoning map changed. In this case, the Stewart property was in the mineral extraction district in the 1990 plan and continued on in the 2010 plan.
Okay, I was a county commissioner at the time that the comprehensive plan was developed, and quite frankly, I sat on the comprehensive plan for most of its work until the end, when I was elected as a commissioner. As a commissioner, I did approve the comprehensive plan and participated in the comprehensive rezoning. At that time, when the Stewart property was brought up, I did object to the rezoning to NAR, and I voted against it. And I explained the reasons at that time, and I still believe those reasons are valid. But I have to say, since that time, the process has bothered me a lot, and let me explain why. The commissioners decided early on that they would have a policy that only the property owners could request an application to rezone their own property. And the commissioners would not allow a third party to request the rezoning of another parcel that they did not own. And there was quite a few requests to rezone other parcels that property owners did not own. And the commissioners at that time, without consideration of the merits of those requests, rejected all of them, every one of them, including ones that were very obvious. And I remember the one parcel that had transformers on it. It was an electrical substation. It was surrounded by M2 zoning, and the commissioner said, it looks obvious, but we are not going to make that M2 zoning. It's going to remain residential because the property owner, we couldn't get in touch with them, and they could come in, fill out an application. And there was quite a few others by other private citizens that had, in my mind, very valid reasons to rezone parcels of land that the commissioners totally rejected without any consideration of the merits. Until it came to the York Building Products, which is a whole different story, because all of a sudden, they decided that they thought that third parties had merit in their request, which really was never really discussed amongst all the county commissioners. Because quite frankly, the effort to downzone it to NAR was not discussed with all 5 county commissioners, and it came out of the blue. As far as I'm concerned, when I was sitting on that board, all of a sudden there was a motion and a second, short discussion and passage quickly without much consideration. That consideration, in my opinion, did allow or really denied the private property owner due process on the consideration of the rezoning of their property. They were not able to refute the request or the motion to downzoning. The planning commission, the planning staff never had the opportunity to consider the consideration of the downzoning of that parcel from M2 to NAR. Three county commissioners, with the encouragement of the community, and I understand the community's attitude, just decided that they were going to make this change without considering the property owner's concerns, the planning staff or the planning commission, and it was a done deal. So I've always felt that the policy and the process was defective on getting it where it was. Now, that doesn't mean that the property shouldn't be NAR. I just don't think that we followed the right process to get to that point. And I have to say, I want to make sure that everyone understands that there is no consideration for mining on this property at this point in time. All we're doing is saying that we're settling this lawsuit and putting it back to where it was before. And quite frankly, anyone that feels that they want to make this zoning change can make an application to change the zoning to anything they want to. And the council will have to consider it. The fact is that I just didn't think the process, the procedure, and the policies at that time were followed very carefully. And therefore, I will be voting for the motion that's before us tonight.
Can I respond?
That's fine.
Okay, in response to that, I think the difference is that there was one person that had come in and made a bunch of different rezoning requests. And early on, we found out that he didn't own the property owners weren't notified. In this case, the property owners were here, and they saw the whole, they participated in the process, and the other side, the residents of the areas participated in the process. And they brought the information forward. And, you know, the water resources element, yes, that was a valid issue. The mining operation in a residential area, that was a valid issue. I don't know if you remember, but Jean Witzel had testified, and I've seen what she has experienced living next to a mining operation and the lack of oversight NDE has in controlling air quality and the dust. She had to fill in her swimming pool because she couldn't use it. So the comprehensive plan had even said mining is not compatible with residential. And clearly this area has changed to a whole lot more residential in the last comprehensive rezoning. So the criteria that we were to look at is what is this area in 2010, what elements are we supposed to be looking at, and we did. And it wasn't a surprise. The presentation from the citizens had introduced the NAR aspect. They had requested it.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me.
There's been a motion and a second to approve resolution number 57-2013 regarding the settlement of litigation between York Building Products, Inc. versus Cecil County, Maryland. Mr. Massey, would you please call the roll call?
Dr. McCarthy,
Aye.
Ms. Bowlesby,
Aye.
Mr. Dunn, Ms. Brumell,
No.
President Hodge.
Aye. Therefore, the resolution passes 3-2. The resolution is adopted. The next item on our agenda is a call for final reading of the bill, which is basically a decision regarding bill number 2013-04, zoning ordinance, floodplain regulations. Mr. Massey, would you please call the final reading of this bill?
Bill number 2013-04, an act to amend the Cecil County zoning ordinance Article 11, Part 3, floodplain district, introduced and order posted on May 7, 2013, public hearing scheduled on June 4, 2013 at 7 p.m.
Okay, the bill has been read for the final time. Are there any questions from any of the council members?
Can I ask, Director Senstrom, has there been any inquiries? You don't have a flood map yet, right?
The new maps will not be effective until July 8, 2013.
They're not effective until July 8th, but do you have them?
Yes.
So the public can come in and look
Yes,
at them?
anybody can come in and peruse them.
All right, is there a motion to approve bill number 2013?
Approve Bill 2013-04.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the zoning ordinance amendment to cover the floodplain regulations, bill number 2013-04. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, would Mr. Massey please call the roll call?
Dr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Ms. Polsky?
Aye.
Mr. Dunn? Ms. Brumell?
Aye.
President Hodge?
Aye. The motion passes unanimously, therefore the bill is adopted. Old business, we have 2 items, but one has been withdrawn, the rezoning request case. The zoning case number 2013-02 regarding the property at 995 Turkey Point has been withdrawn. So we are left with a rezoning case number 2013-01. This is requested by Capital Development Partners regarding property at 2758 Augustine Herman Highway in Chesapeake City. I guess John W. and Helene A. Myers Sr. are the property owners. There was a public hearing held on June 4th of 2013. And I guess I'd like to have a motion for approval or
Make a motion for disapproval because the signature, all the applicants have not signed the application.
I'll second it.
oh, so what you're doing is saying that you're denying this on the technical and not based on the or not meeting the criteria of the requirements. Is that correct?
I would say, the one parcel that is part of Jack and Helen's restaurant, yes, is business, but I, think it will set off a change of character in the area by the rezoning of the second parcel. So for that criteria as well.
The second parcel
Or the
is this
second
number?
part, the stormwater management area that they had said was being used. Is that correct, Director Senstrom?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is that correct in, what we had discussed before? You had said, there's the second part where the stormwater management, that was the different zone. I guess this is the application for stormwater management, did we change the BG?
No, it's, the testimony presented to the planning commission and to county council is that the septic system was located on that property,
Right.
of the restaurant, not the stormwater management. So
Okay.
I know there's no stormwater.
Not
facility.
stormwater but the, septic. So motion for disapproval based on that reason.
Okay, there's been a motion to disapprove the rezoning request. Is there a second? Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I'm going to vote against the motion because I believe that the second parcel should have been a lot add-on rather than a separate independent parcel. That lot add-on should have included both parcels. Both parcels should have had the same zoning designation. and that would be BG, because it's also in the priority funding area, those two parcels. Now, I would have rejected the rezoning of the sliver, what I call the sliver, because the sliver was added after the fact and not within the priority funding area. Am I correct on that, Mr. Centrum?
Parcel 3, that's correct.
Okay, the
5300.
sliver. So when you say that, where will this end? In my mind, it ends when the priority funding area does not apply. The priority funding area is a designation of where the county and the state are willing to spend money on infrastructure and other improvements, and to me, in my mind, that is not NAR. The fact is that I would have, if there was a motion to support, and there is not, so therefore, I will be in the minority on this vote. But I believe that the property has been properly zoned BG for the front parcel, and the rear parcel should have been, which is contiguous, should have been BG also, so it would have met the criteria for rezoning because it was a mistake. But that motion isn't on the table, so I'm going to be voting for the motion that has been put forward. Is there any other discussion on this rezoning act? Okay, there's been a motion and a second to disapprove the rezoning of the request by Capital Development Partners on land known as 2758 Augustine Herman Highway in Chesapeake City. Mr. Massey, would you please read the roll call?
Dr. McCarthy,
No.
Ms. Bowlesby,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Aye.
Ms. Bromell,
Yes.
President Hodge.
No, but before I announce this, are you voting in favor of the denial, or?
I'm voting not to change the zone.
Okay, then you need to vote aye. Okay, and aye is a vote for the motion which denies.
Not to change the zone.
Okay, so the vote is 4-1. The motion passes, the zoning is denied. That ends our business for tonight. I want to remind everyone that we will be having our next legislative meeting next Tuesday, July 2nd, at 7 p.m. May I have a motion to adjourn?